let's do this. Think of one thing in your life you'd like to create. Think of one thing in your life you'd like to change. Okay? Maybe you want to write them down. But if you do, write them down and put them in a drawer somewhere. Okay? So here's what I'd like you to do. I'm going to show you a totally different way of creation. A lot of you are going to think I'm crazy. But if you see this beautiful house behind me, it's how I created it. If you see the life that I have, which I consider myself to have a truly blessed life, I have worked it. I mean, in other words, I've done this work. I continue to do this work. There's no such thing as not doing the work or finishing the work. There's always more to get, okay? But I want to say that asking this way has created for me the life that I have, and everybody that I've shared it with that actually does it, it actually works, but it doesn't look like anything you have been taught. And so I want to go there, but I want to give you that caveat. And I want to also tell you, you're probably going to think I'm crazy, and you're going to think it's too easy, and you're going to think I'm crazy, and you're going to think it's too easy. Yes, I said that twice. Okay. And you're going to be like, but where's the how? What do I do? Where's the how? What do I do? And this is something that we have learned. It's kind of like trying to take a tricycle everywhere you want to go when you have a Lamborghini sitting right there, but you won't use it. Okay. So the real magic in the universe, the real magic of creation, is actually ask and you shall receive. So one more time, the real magic of creation occurs from ask and you shall receive. Now, I'll put some more stuff around this, but for a moment, I'd like you to again think of the being that you were before you came into this body. Because one of the concepts I'd really like you to be aware of, at least, is that you're an infinite being. Now, I used to hear this with some of the metaphysical stuff I was doing, and I looked at my life and I'm like, shouldn't an infinite being at least be able to pay rent? Shouldn't an infinite being at least be able to be happy? I wasn't asking for much. I wanted some more ease with money, and I wanted to be happy. And it seemed impossible to find, which is why I was doing all of these things where the universe would crash into my head by Wednesday morning. And it was after I had just given up hope. Okay. I had just given up hope, and I'm like, universe, I'm done. And I can't go through this again. I said, look, either my life really changes or I'm killing myself. You have 6 months. And I figured I was going to get to end my life. And spoiler alert, it didn't happen. I found access instead. Okay. And started using the stuff. You got to use the stuff. Knowing that it's there and not using it is like knowing that your car is there, but not climbing in. Okay. You got to use this stuff. And so I said, universe, you got 6 months. Either my life changes or I'm out of here. And I came across an ad for Access Consciousness. It said, Access, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And I wanted to kill the lady that put the ad in the paper. Tiny little classified ad, okay? And so I threw the paper away. It came out the next week. Access, all of life comes to you with ease and joy and glory. Call Shannon. And I was like, kill Shannon. Anyway, I had learned long before that if there's something you love or something you hate, there's something in it for you, okay? So if you've been sitting there hating this conversation and presentation, there's something here for you. If you've been loving it, there's something here for you, okay? And if you're in the middle of the road, there's probably still something here for you. But yep, it was Shannon O'Hara. And so I called and I said, what do you do? And she said, well, we do all kinds of stuff, but a really good place to start would be with this thing called the bars. And I'm like, what does that do? What is it? She said, well, it's 32 points on the head, and I'll just touch your hands really lightly. And at the worst, you'll feel like you had a good massage. At the best, your whole life will change. And I was like, my whole life better change or I'm killing myself. And I planned the date, not around a major holiday, not around anybody's birthday that I knew and cared about, because I didn't want to do this to make people wrong. I wanted to do it to get out of the suffering I was living. Part of that was because of the abuse I experienced, but so much more of it was because of the constant self-abuse I was doing to myself with my judgments of myself. How many of you have this ongoing, constant self-abuse that you think somehow makes you a better person because you're judging everything that's wrong with you all the time as though that's going to make you do more things that are right? Except when you're judging what's wrong with you, you don't ever do much more of what's right. You just feel more wrong. So everywhere you bought the idea that judging you was the best idea to make you a better person, and everywhere you had people judge you as though that was going to make you a better person, when it just made you an unhappier person, and now you're being the people judging you, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Okay. And so what happened was I had her come over to my chiropractic office, and I laid down on my chiropractic table. She puts her hands on my head, and I was like, whoa, this is an amazing energy. And it was this access bars that she was doing. I'd never experienced it, never heard about it. And I was like, oh, this is wonderful. And she would move her hands to different places. And after a few minutes, I started giggling like a little kid. I was like, I'd never met this girl before. I had no idea what the hell she was doing, and I didn't care. One of the first times up until that point in my life where I was not self-judgmental. It was amazing. And so after an hour and 15 minutes, I get up and I have a sense of space and peace and gratitude for being alive. I went into the session depressed and suicidal, came out of the session with a gratitude for being alive. And I remember looking up at the clouds and I was like, oh my God, has it always been this beautiful here? If it feels this way to be alive, I am in. And that session was one of the big reasons why I'm still here today. Well, we got together once a week after that. And while she would run my bar, she would give me a tool to use. Guess what the first tool was? Who does this belong to? Okay. She would give me a tool to use every week. I would use that tool. And when the universe went to cave in on my head again, I would use the tool and it would go away and I would have space again. And so my space just increased and increased and increased and increased. I started loving being alive, because when your space increases and increases, you start to perceive more magic. You start to perceive more possibilities. You start to perceive more life and living. You start to perceive more and more and more, and you start to receive more as you're being more, and you feel like the world is this gift. So all of you who have decided that you cannot change what you have going on, all of you who decided that you are too bad, terrible, vicious, wrong, mean, and awful to deserve to change, all of you who have the point of view or have an implanted, explanted point of view that you are so bad, terrible, vicious, mean, awful, and evil, and you have done so many terrible things to so many good people that you deserve to suffer for all eternity, and all the lies involved in that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Ooh, great idea. Could somebody write the clearing statement in the thingy-majiggy thing? And, oh, we're all good. Okay, good. Somebody did. Okay, good. Or somebody will, or something like that. Okay. So what that gave me, see, as a little kid, I always believed in miracles. And I mean, not but I did. I always looked for what was possible. I remember I found this book on what they called pointed pressure therapy, and it had all these meridians. It was acupressure on the feet, and my grandma's tummy was sick, so I would rub her tummy, and when my mom didn't feel good, I would rub those points and try to heal them, because I knew there was something different. Here I am, like 10 or 11 years old, trying to heal people. Are you ready for a healing? Praise be. And I always knew this was possible. And no matter what abuse I experienced, I knew it was possible. Now, how much do you still know is possible, regardless of the abuse that you have experienced, regardless of the unkindness, regardless of COVID, regardless of everybody else's lack of hope, regardless of everybody else's insanity, regardless of the meanness in the world, regardless of that there are people who want to incite people to hate other people, regardless of all of that shit? How many of you still somewhere have a sense of hope? And have you buried it? Have you hidden it? Have you shoved it out of your universe into dreamland? Where have you put the hope that is you? Everything that is, and everything that doesn't allow you to access it, now, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yep, as a kid, I always thought anything was possible. I didn't understand why it wasn't happening in my reality. Exactly. Guess what? What if now's the time? What if now's the time? What if this is actually possible now? Does it make you a little lighter, maybe a little more excited? And now here's the thing though. How many times have we gotten lighter and excited? Kind of like me going to those weekend workshops where I'm like, yes, 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 we can do this, we can do this. And then by Wednesday, I'm like, fuck, we can't do it. Shit, I thought I had it, but it's gone again. What I'm talking to you about comes from your very being. What Access Consciousness tools do is they allow you to access what is true for you as a being. And so I just want you to know it is possible. Will you have work to do? Probably so. I know I have, I know I still do. But now the work that I do is not from, oh my God, I'm suffering, help, I'm suffering, I want to get out of my suffering. That went on for a long time. That went on for a while, okay? And even within that, it was less over, like continuously, easily, really quickly. But now the work that I do is like, ooh, what else is possible and how can I get there? How can I have that also? And one of the things for me is, how can I be more to such a degree that I let other people know that they can be more too? Everything that is times a godzillion. And all of you who have that you actually desire and you gave up on that, being the more that would allow other people to know more is possible. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Whew. Okay. Wow, guys, we're getting somewhere. Do you feel any different than when you got on here? Have any more lightness, sense of possibilities pops in your world? By the way, this is just the beginning. Okay, I'm going to ask you, will you please let me in and let this energy in a bit more? Awesome. Yay. I love yes. Yay. Awesome. And I know some people are sitting there going, no, I feel heavier. Don't worry. Give it a day and a half. Okay. Because please know, even if you're like, I'm the odd man out, I'm the one who doesn't get it. I used to have the same thing. And what would always happen is I would keep it away so I could prove that I was the odd man out and prove that things didn't work on me. Or sometimes you keep it out to prove that what you already did or are doing is working and this new thing won't work. And then what would happen is I would keep it out and then I would eventually let it in and I would get as happy as everybody else seemed to be. Everything that is times a godzillion. That's a lot of work. I will tell you from personal experience and I understand it completely. So please know you're part of this also. In other words, you are included in this energy also to the degree that you desire to. And this is up to you, my beautiful friends. This is your choice. Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and create it, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. But so with this idea of things becoming possible and us having given it up. So as I started using these tools, my space started increasing and increasing and increasing. And it became fun to be alive. It became joyful to be alive. And I was just thinking about this idea of miracles right now. And it's so interesting because I just look back now and realized that it was so miraculous. I was so grateful, but I didn't even acknowledge how miraculous it was, how much changed, how quickly. That's what's available. Now, here's the other thing. I was using old Access. What do I mean when I say that? Well, Access continuously changes all the time, which is kind of frustrating to some people. When they think they get it right, we change it. But what we're doing is we find a way quicker way to get underneath more limitation and bust it all apart. So where I got to in 20 years, you could get to a hell of a lot sooner because we have different processes, different ways of looking at things, etc. And too much for me to even begin to go into. We probably got 8,000 tools in Access, maybe more than that at this point, okay? But I'm saying that because what I kind of wanted to invite you to is this energetic sense of possibilities. And for me, I don't care whether you get there by using Access or something else. I truly don't. I just want you to get there. In other words, I know what it is to live a life that feels like it has very little sense of hope, that has a lot of pain, that has a lot of suffering. I know that one really well. And I see a lot of people on our planet having it. You guys have made a courageous choice in being here, and I thank you for that.